The Station of Waiting. The small rural train station sat under the scorching July sun like a forgotten outpost. Its cracked cement platform shimmered with heat waves, and the rusted iron rails stretched endlessly into a horizon that promised escape but delivered nothing. For most travelers, it was a place of quick passage. For Aaliyah and her little boy, however, it had become a prison. 3 days. That was how long she had been stranded there, clutching a threadbare satchel and the hand of her son, Imran, who was only 7 but already bore the look of hunger in his eyes. His lips were dry and cracked, his small stomach hollowed from emptiness, and his voice had grown hoarse from asking the same heartbreaking question. Ami, kana milega? Mother, will we get food? Each time, Aaliyah forced a smile that her heart could not sustain. She would stroke his thin hair, whisper a prayer under her breath, and tell him, "Soon, beta, soon." But "soon" had stretched across 3 unyielding days. They had come from the city with the hope of finding Aaliyah's brother in the village 2 stops away. He had promised to shelter them after her husband's sudden death left her penniless and unwanted in her in-laws' house. Yet the train they were supposed to take never arrived. Some said it had broken down miles away. Others claimed it was cancelled indefinitely. With no money for lodging and barely enough for a few pieces of bread, Aaliyah had stayed at the station, clinging to hope. The station master, an older man with gruff manners, pitied them but could only do so much. Aaliyah had refused his offer of charity beyond a little water, her dignity as fragile and stubborn as glass. By the 2nd day, Imran's hunger had turned desperate. He stared longingly at the roasted peanuts vendors sold to passengers when an occasional train stopped. Aaliyah's heart broke each time he swallowed his saliva as though tasting imaginary food. She would tear her own small roti into halves, pretending she wasn't hungry, while secretly ignoring the burning pain in her empty stomach. The sun had been merciless. The platform offered no shelter except for a patch of shade that shifted cruelly as the day dragged on. Sweat soaked through Aaliyah's faded dupatta as she fanned her son with her hand. She thought of her late husband, of the promises he once made of a better life, and her chest tightened. By the 3rd day, her willpower trembled. Imran lay curled in her lap, too weak to cry. His breaths came slow, his eyes half closed. Fear surged in her, fear that hunger might claim her son before hope could reach them. And then she heard the footsteps. They were steady, purposeful, the kind that belonged to a man who knew where he was going. Aaliyah looked up and saw him, a tall stranger, dust clinging to his boots, a worn hat shading his sharp eyes. He was not a traveler in haste, but a man observing, pausing when his gaze fell on the sight of a starving mother and child. He stopped a few feet away. For a long moment, silence stretched between them, filled only by the whistle of distant cicadas. Then, in a voice that was both steady and strangely gentle, he spoke the words that would change everything. "I am here for you." Chapter 2. The Hand That Held Them. Aaliyah blinked, uncertain if she had imagined the words. Her lips parted, but no sound came. The man stepped closer, removing his hat as though in respect. "My name is Rahim Khan," he said. "I saw you here yesterday, and again today. Forgive me, Baji, but no woman should sit in this heat with a child like this." Aaliyah's throat tightened. Pride urged her to remain silent, to shield her humiliation, but despair broke through. She looked at her son's frail body and whispered, "He hasn't eaten properly in days." Rahim's jaw clenched. Without another word, he strode toward a tea stall at the far end of the platform. Minutes later, he returned with a plate of steaming lentils, flatbread, and a small cup of milk. The aroma made Imran stir. His eyes fluttered open, and when Rahim crouched to hand him the food, the boy reached out with trembling fingers. Aaliyah tried to protest, "No, we cannot accept," but her son's desperate bite silenced her. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she watched him eat. Rahim did not sit until the boy was finished. Then he turned to Aaliyah. "And you," he said firmly, "eat." Her hunger betrayed her resistance. The first mouthful nearly undid her. It was as though her body remembered life after 3 days of numbness. She sobbed quietly between bites, whispering prayers of thanks. When she finished, Rahim spoke again, his tone careful. "Where are you headed?" She told him of her brother, of her husband's death, of the train that never came. Her voice cracked as she confessed she had nowhere else to go. Rahim listened without interruption. His eyes, dark and steady, carried neither pity nor judgment, only resolve. "I live in a nearby town," he said finally. "I work my own land. It isn't much, but it's honest. If you trust me, you and your boy can come with me. You'll have food, shade, and safety, until you decide your next step." Aliyah stared at him. Could she trust a stranger? The world had shown her cruelty enough times. Yet in his voice, in the quiet strength of his presence, she felt something rare, sincerity. That night, under a sky scattered with stars, Rahim led them away from the station. He carried Imran on his shoulders when the boy grew too weak to walk. He made sure Aliyah walked in the shaded side of the path. When they reached his modest home, he gave them a room, laid out fresh bedding, and set aside food for the morning. Imran slept peacefully for the first time in days. Aliyah lay awake, staring at the ceiling, tears sliding silently into her pillow. Not tears of despair this time, but of relief. For 3 days she had endured hunger, heat, and hopelessness. For 3 days she had thought she and her son were abandoned by the world. But tonight, she remembered the words spoken at the station, words that echoed like a promise, like the first crack of dawn after endless night.